Good morning. Welcome so much for returning for many of you, and hopefully we have a fantastic day today. I think we're starting a little late because there's so many people interested here that we ran into some traffic. But let's get straight to it. So I'm Jason Lee, the Deputy Director for the Molecular Imaging Program here at Stanford, and on behalf of all of Stanford Radiology and Stanford Medicine, we welcome you to the Gambier Symposium on Radiochemistry, Molecular Imaging, and Theranostics. And can we have the next slide? So without further ado, we'll start off with opening remarks from three members of Stanford Medicine and Stanford Healthcare. Four members. First, we'll have Dean Lloyd Minor. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it in person, but he did submit a fantastic video that we'd like to show you now.
Good morning. I'm Lloyd Minor, Dean of the School of Medicine and Vice President for Medical Affairs at Stanford University. I'm delighted to welcome you to the Gambier Symposium on Radiochemistry, Molecular Imaging, and Theragnostics. This is truly an exciting time to be working in these fields at Stanford Medicine and beyond. Using radiopharmaceutical tools simultaneously for both diagnosis and therapy is among the most innovative precision medicine strategies being developed today in the diagnosis and treatment of cancer and other serious diseases. I want to express my sincere thanks to the entire team behind the new cyclotron and radiochemistry facility. In expanding our capabilities and our capacity to do groundbreaking research, we are that much closer to developing life-saving therapies and diagnostics. These achievements highlight the importance of partnerships between academia and industry, and we're honored to have so many industry leaders joining us here today. Stanford Medicine is committed to being at the forefront of biomedical research. Under the late Dr. Sam Gambier's leadership over the last 2 decades, the Stanford Medicine Department of Radiology built a world-class molecular imaging program and recruited an incredible team of scientists. Still, we recognize we can achieve far more through partnerships than we can alone. These collaborations leverage our unique strengths to accelerate research and translate those discoveries into therapies. I know that many of you came together yesterday to honor Sam and Aruna Gambier. Aruna, a luminary in the Bay Area's biotechnology community in her own right, passed away this past November after a lengthy battle with cancer, just 3 years after Sam's death. Their legacy will be their visionary leadership, warm collegiality, and pioneering work that will be foundational for future advances. And you have to look no further than today's agenda to see evidence of that. I want to thank Dr. Jason Tan Lee and his team for organizing the symposium, all of our presenters and speakers, and of course, all of you for joining us today. On behalf of all of us at Stanford Medicine, I hope you have a wonderful conference.
And our next opening remarks will be from Sam Wald, the Chief Administrative Officer of Clinical Operations at the School of Medicine and Stanford Healthcare.
Thanks so much. Nice to see everyone here today. Many of you probably don't know me. I am a physician and an administrator. I'm an anesthesiologist and have spent a lot of time in a past life taking care of children who are undergoing MRI who won't hold still for 45 minutes. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit in context, which is I'm sort of living in a duality of being a physician and being an administrator. And I was really paying attention for those who were here yesterday. I mean, even if you weren't, we're all wearing these little wolf pins with the Cherokee quote that was so important to Sam about the duality of our own personalities and which ones we feed. And if you think about it, we have a lot of dualities in our lives, and the department in general does a lot to synergize things that you think might necessarily work against each other. And so I would ask you to think about, as you see today, all of the synergies, the dualities that come together. Think about imaging in general. Outside the body is our experience. Imaging provides a look inside the body, even though we live in this external experience. In our professional lives, we have the research component and we have the clinical component. We were just talking at our table today, David was just mentioning about how we do the preclinical work and the clinical work together in one institution. That's a duality that we actually synergize here in the department. And the last thing I'll mention is what Sam has created is often we separate work and family, work and play. And one of the main themes I came away from yesterday, from all the talks, is that this is a family. And despite the fact that this is also our profession, it is also our source of strength and community as a group. And so I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. And it's been a very thought-provoking experience for me. I'll let you move on to our next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Walt. And our next opening remarks will be from Elizabeth Oyekan, Vice President of Pharmacy and Imaging Services at Stanford Healthcare.
All right, good morning, everyone. Okay, I guess you haven't had your coffee yet. So let's try that again. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, good. So I'm Elizabeth Oyekan, and I have had the privilege of being here at Stanford for about 18 months now. I come from a world of managed care at Kaiser, and I was in the consulting world with drug manufacturers and health plans. So what I've done is had the opportunity to look under the hood and see a lot of things that are out there and just things that are coming forth. But today, what we want to do is to continue the celebration from yesterday, really in honoring the Gambier family, honoring them for their work, for their vision, for the incredible legacy that they have left for all of us. And yesterday, some of the things that I was left with at dinner, because I wasn't able to join during the day, is that I heard people say a few things, and two overarching themes summarized the Gambier family, and especially Sam. One was he was a person who took incredible risk in what he believed in and brought everybody else along. And he took chances on folks even when other people didn't. The second thing was what an incredible human being he was. And I remember a gentleman, and I'm looking at him, and he said to me yesterday, he said, if I could be just a little bit like Sam, I could change the world. And guess what I said back to him? You already are. And so this morning and today, we'd also like to honor every single one of you in this room. Our researchers, our faculty, our providers, our scientists, our staff, our leaders, and our partners across all industries. Because at this point, you are the ones making that incredible difference today and moving forward in what it is that we're going to do. What we are also really grateful for is how this work has translated to the bedside, to the patients. You are now bringing incredible therapies to different disease states. And I, being a pharmacist by background, just to let you know, the whole theranostics work is just like totally like amazing to me. Because what does it do? It brings, in my mind, radiology and molecular imaging, and it brings pharmaceuticals all in one place to make an exceptional difference in people's lives. It also is going to help us when it comes to patients' experience patient satisfaction. And very importantly, it brings value to the whole ecosystem of health. And I'm going to leave you with two things that I also look forward to you bringing forth in this space of radiochemistry, molecular imaging, and theranostics. And that is access and equity. Access to these therapies and to these different diagnostics, both near and far. Access to the incredible work started here at Stanford, pioneered at Stanford, and optimized here at Stanford, and then leveraged across the entire world. We're looking forward to you bringing that to people both near and far. And so with that, I would like to say thank you on behalf of not just the administration, but thank you on behalf of every patient that we serve and every population that we're going to touch. And for that, we honor you, we thank you, and we look forward to your legacy as you make that dent in improving healthcare for people near and far. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr. Oyeken. It looks like they're building another cyclotron in the back. And we'll have our final opening remarks from Dr. David Larson, the Executive Vice Chair and currently the Acting Chair of Radiology at Stanford University.
Thank you, Jason. Good morning. Okay, Elizabeth, you got them warmed up. We're going to try it again. Good morning. It's so great to be with all of you. Thank you so much, Jason, for the introduction. Thank you for the wonderful partnership that we have with Sam and Elizabeth, our hospital partners. We are incredibly fortunate in where we are and who we work with here at Stanford. That is not lost on us. We recognize that. Thank you all so much for joining us today. It was an incredible day yesterday, and today we're really looking forward now to continuing with what we talked about yesterday and looking at the exciting new things coming towards us. Just a couple of thoughts. I just wanted to first start by, let's see if I think I have a couple slides to talk through the history of molecular imaging and nuclear medicine here at Stanford. And this predates me. I've been at Stanford for about 10 years, but I know this has been in the works for decades. And many of you who are here have been part of this for many years. So the Lucas Center was established, it was built in 1992. I think we'll bring that back. And that ended up being the home of the Radiological Sciences Laboratory, and as well as molecular imaging, which then led to where the cyclotron is. Sam joined us in 2003 at Stanford, and then he became chair in 2011. And under his leadership, both as the director of molecular imaging and as chair, a lot of this came about. So the cyclotron radiochemistry facility was opened at the Lucas Center in 2005. And then we had a number of programs that came along with that, both prior to and subsequent to that. The ICMIC program, the CCNE program, the Canary Foundation designation as a Center of Excellence, and a few years later, Project Baseline with Google. There have been many other milestones in terms of our facilities and our equipment, with the Nuclear Medicine Molecular Imaging Clinic opening in 2010. With the PETMR in 2014, with the Imaging Center in Porter at 2015, the MR-guided focused ultrasound in 2015, in radiation oncology, the biology-guided radiotherapy clinical system in 2020. And so now very recently, we opened the Theranostics Clinic in 2021, which has been just fantastic and highly successful. And now we're celebrating today the opening of our new cyclotron radiochemistry facility at Page Mill. So it has been an incredible journey that we are privileged to be a part of. we're also privileged to be a part of this incredible community. I talked to Jason about, like, we need a slide that has, that represents all the institutions and the organizations that are joining us. And he said, okay, this is going to take a while, just because there's so many that come together. And we love this collaboration, that it crosses so many boundaries. That it goes to industry and academia, our donors, our funders, government, and across multiple institutions that otherwise could be in a position of competition, that really come together in collaboration to make this all work. And the fact that you are coming, joining us and celebrating with us is just a tremendous honor and a privilege that we greatly appreciate. So I do have a few more comments I'd like to make, just reflecting on yesterday. We commemorated the legacy of Sam and Aruna and Milan Gambhir. It was a wonderful event. I so very much enjoyed hearing everyone's reflections about each of them and how much they resonated personally with me of my similar experiences. So today we look forward to what is emerging from some of the brightest minds in the field, the science and the technical developments that are coming forward. So as we celebrate the Gambhir Symposium, the tragic irony is not lost on us that the members of the Gambhir family were taken too soon by our common enemy, which is cancer. Cancer is tenacious and it's seemingly ingenious as an adversary. And when you find a way to kill it, it finds a way to survive. It seems to adapt its strategy to outsmart its opponent. So it's not actually that cancer it's not actually smart, it's not literally smart, but rather through a combination of mutation and selective pressure, the cells that utilize strategies that are most suited to survive and thrive in their environment are able to successfully reproduce, and thus those strategies emerge as dominant, enabling cancer to grow and invade, and potentially to the point of overwhelming and killing its hosts. So the question is how to outsmart this seemingly ingenious disease. So today we'll hear from experts, exciting developments from all around, from the world's experts on this topic that will bring hope for successfully treating the types of diseases that took our beloved Gambhir family. But for a moment, I'd like us to also take a step back and look at the broader strategies that are enabling us to win this struggle. So as I've been reflecting on this and on Sam's legacy, the question has emerged for me: was Sam so successful because of his brilliance and his charisma? Or was it something deeper? Was it something that's more innate to the problem itself, to the environment in which Sam found himself and put himself? Perhaps it's the case that Sam embodied the strategies that are highly suited for this environment, that will enable us to win the struggle if they emerge as dominant. So yesterday we reflected on a number of Sam's qualities, his behaviors, and how much they meant to us. And so I'd like us to think about what those behaviors mean to the field as a whole, especially when we compare it to the absence of those behaviors or their opposites. So for example, several people shared that Sam was the reason why they got into this field or pursued their idea, even when it seemed crazy at the time. He viewed education as the lighting of a torch rather than the filling of a vessel. So this behavior leads to the expansion of the field with intelligent and passionate minds that otherwise would not be engaged, or at least not engaged into this work. It also leads to the mobilization of financial and intellectual and emotional capital that otherwise would lie dormant. Right? That's the product of that behavior. Several people reflected on how Sam inspired and encouraged people on an individual basis, and especially when they were down, and not with trite words of comfort, but rather by helping them think through the problem and finding a way forward. And with this approach, many individuals who may otherwise give up or may get stuck at a roadblock are able to overcome and go on to create new understanding and develop successful new strategies in treating this disease. Several people reflected on how Sam would connect people together. Whenever I came out of a meeting, I almost always had a long list of people I needed to reach out to. Several people commented on that yesterday, right? You remember those lists that you come away with meeting with Sam? And behind the scenes, he was talking me up, and he'd talk everybody up, and getting them connected, getting them excited to not only work with each other, but maybe even, God forbid, that they actually like each other, right? They have a favorable opinion of each other. And so with this approach, these torches are not lit just one at a time, but then they're brought together to light each other, to sustain each other, even in the wind and the rain. Several people reflected on how Sam was a fierce competitor, and he was. He would work tirelessly and expected excellence out of himself and others, but he was never a cutthroat competitor, ever. He was quite the opposite. He was extraordinarily generous with his ideas, with his time, with his attention, and with the attention that he received and his position received from his success. And that behavior leads to rapid innovation that self-perpetuates, that is not halted by self-interest or conflict. So those who will be presenting today have a deep understanding of the strategies that cancer utilizes to grow and many of the countermeasures that we can take to overcome those strategies. But I believe in the long run, the strategies, the fundamental behaviors that make this field successful are based on deeper and more universal principles. The product of these are here today, the product of these behaviors. The evidence is that when Sam passed away, so many people within the department and outside of Stanford rallied together to support the members of his lab, enabling those individuals to continue their work and their careers. The evidence is in the fact that when our dear Bin Shen, the director of our cyclotron, suddenly passed away last year, members of this community not only extended their condolences, but provided guidance and support in helping us continue our cyclotron radiochemistry program, as well as finish the installation of our new cyclotron. The evidence is in the fact that when we invited the community, all of you, to come join with us and celebrate the opening of the cyclotron and radiochemistry facility at Porter Drive, that you've joined us and you bring your ideas and your energy and your progress of what you are doing, and we learn and grow with each other. The evidence is in the fact that I, as a pediatric radiologist with minimal background in nuclear medicine and molecular imaging, am warmly welcomed into this community with enthusiasm and with acceptance, like so many of you have welcomed each other and have been welcomed into this field. I believe that years down the road, when we look back on what it was that allowed us to be successful in fighting this disease, we'll not only celebrate the specific diagnostic and treatment strategies that emerged, but also the attributes of the environment in which they were incubated. If we look deeply enough, we'll see that it was not only the brilliance of the members of this community, but it was also their passion, their generosity, their selflessness, their community-mindedness that paved the path to conquering this terrible disease. May these principles forever be the dominant strategy in the culture of nuclear medicine and molecular imaging. Thank you for bringing them with you today, and thank you for joining us.